So in terms of developmental milestones, there's lots of information out there for parents. Public Health has a really good resource. The Ages and Stages Questionnaire is a good resource for parents to look at to know whether your child is developing typically. It's important for parents to keep a close eye on their child. It's important to know whether what's happening is setting the stage for the next thing. Parents often compare their child to those in a similar age group, and it's actually a useful tool, without being judgmental about it, in knowing if your child is doing similar things. But children exist on a huge continuum. So it's not necessarily a problem if your child's not doing what other children are doing, but it may be, and it's important for a parent to know that, because we know that the earlier a small problem is addressed, the less likely the problem will persist. These problems tend to get bigger if they're not addressed. We know that services in our community are more accessible the younger a child is. The older a child is, sometimes the problems are significant. Sometimes they do need a lot of support. The earlier that support is introduced, the better the long-term outcome for the child. Certainly by the time a child gets to school, you want to have those supports in place, because you lose a little bit of control as the parent when your child goes into the school system in terms of making sure they have what is needed. The school system is heavily taxed, does not have adequate resources for every child all the time. We know this. Teachers have huge classrooms. We know that they work incredibly hard to do their best for our children, but that doesn't mean it's enough if a child needs more support. If it hasn't been identified and extra support hasn't been allocated to that child, it could be some time until they get that support, or it could be costly to the parent. So the earlier those things are identified means it's a better outcome for the child, and also for the rest of us in terms of offering that support. Those small problems can sometimes be alleviated by very simple strategies. So, and those are the success stories, when a child has a small speed bump instead of a giant mountain to climb. That's what we want.